Today, we are going to walk through basic operation of our Academy series, which features a fully enclosed CNC machine with safety interlock doors, built-in dust collection, and our eCNC touchscreen controller. To begin operation, we need to first turn on the main power switch, which is located at the back of the unit. This will power up the fans and activate power to the machine and vacuum system, although they won't be powered up just yet. On the front panel of your machine, you will have 4 important switches. For now, we are going to turn on the third switch, which is going to turn on the machine and its controller. The second switch is how we will power up the internal dust collection system, which is located inside of the cabinet. And of course, we have our emergency stop button, which is so critical to have, particularly in education settings, where students may be learning to use a CNC machine for the first time. The first button on this panel is how we unlock the relay switches on your safety interlock doors. By pressing it in, we can now open the doors freely. Note that the light on the front of your machine will change from orange to red. The red light indicates that the spindle is disabled and will not be able to operate until the safety interlock doors are closed again. As you can see, you can try to activate the spindle and it will not rotate. Once we power up the controller, you will first see the I2R logo, which is the manufacturer of our products. Upon startup, you will always notice that the stop or reset button is flashing red, indicating that it is in an off state. You can also see this with this red icon. Press the stop button once to place it in an on state. The first thing to take note of when you are ready to operate your machine is whether the machine is displaying work coordinates or machine coordinates. Because we are always going to home our machine to begin, we want it to display machine coordinates. Now we are ready to send the machine to its home position, which is the front left of the machine, with the Z-axis lifted to the top. The controller will confirm this, as it will display 0 for all 3 axes. Next, we are going to switch over to the manual page, which is where we can move all of the axes manually. For this, we are going to switch back to working coordinates. There are 2 modes for jogging the axis. By default, the machine will always be in step mode, which moves in individual steps each time you press it. The second mode is continuous, which allows you to hold in the plus or minus button to move the machine in a smooth motion. You can adjust the speed or distance of these movements by pressing the continuous or step button once again. To jog an axis, ensure that it is highlighted green, like the X-axis here, and then press the plus and minus buttons to move its location. That is the basic operation on the manual page. Let's return to the home page to look at some other functionality. We are going to go through loading a project file from your USB stick. This requires a bit of important information prior to proceeding. The first time that you insert a USB stick into your machine, the controller will automatically add 2 folders onto your USB. One is named CNC file, and the other is named firmware update. The CNC file folder is where the machine will read project files from, so you will need to save them directly into this folder. If you try to save them into the USB stick's main directory, it will not be able to locate them. Jumping over to my Vectric software quickly, I need to ensure that I have the correct post-processor selected, which can be found under Academy 2. If you do not have your machine set up in your software, you can quickly do this by going to Machine along the menu bar and selecting Machine Configuration. You are going to click the cloud icon to search for your machine. The manufacturer is Simply Technologies. The series is Academy, and then you select your specific model. Confirm that this is the correct information, and you can add your machine to the software. With the correct machine and post-processor now selected, I'm going to save my tool path directly into the CNC file folder and name it Academy 2. This USB stick is now ready for the machine. The controller will indicate when a USB stick is inserted by the USB icon in the bottom left corner. When it is grayed out, it is not reading a USB, and when one is inserted, it will change to green. We are ready to go to the File Group menu, and you can see that my Academy 2 file is listed. We can select the desired file. In this case, there is only one, and press the Load File icon. That file is now loaded and ready to be run on our CNC machine. Now, we can get ready to set our position of origin for our project file. In this case, our position of origin is located at the center of our material, which we have secured to the machine's spoil board. If you are not familiar with inserting a tool into a collet, follow these simple steps. First, you're going to take the collet nut that was provided with your machine, along with the collet. Insert the collet into the collet nut, and you will feel it snap into place. Although it will still be loose, the two pieces will be connected. You can now take the collet and lightly thread it onto your spindle. Don't thread it too tightly, as you still need to be able to insert your tool. Many CNC bits will have a line on the shaft, indicating how deep into the collet it should be placed. This can be very helpful, particularly in the early stages of your CNC journey. Insert the tool into the collet and tighten it until the tool is securely in place. You will then take the two wrenches provided with your machine. One will go on the collet nut, and the other will hold the spindle in place. Tighten the collet nut so that it is properly tightened, although you don't want to tighten it to the point that you won't be able to remove it later. Using the plus and minus keys, we are going to position the tool directly over the X on our material. Once our position is set, we will highlight the X axis, which is indicated by being green, and press the Set 0 button. Repeat this process with the Y axis as well. You will see that the coordinates immediately change to 0. For your Z axis, you have two choices. First, you can manually set the position of origin by jogging the machine down to its position. When manually setting the Z axis, we often recommend using the paper method. Place a piece of paper on top of your surface and jog the spindle down until you feel a slight amount of resistance. This is generally considered the most accurate way of manually setting the position of origin. The second method is using the tool touch-off puck that is provided with your machine, which we generally recommend when first learning your CNC machine. An important note here: when designing your project in Vectric software, you have the option of setting your Z0 position on the material surface or the machine bed. Whichever option you choose in the software, you need to ensure you match when setting your position of origin. To use the tool touch-off puck, simply plug it into the side of the spindle and place it on the correct surface, which is the material surface in our case. Ensure that your tool is aligned over top of the puck, and then press the probe button on your controller. The Z axis will very slowly descend until the tool touches off of the puck, and then it will raise up again. It is important to note that the probe function will only move a short distance to reach the puck. If your tool is set significantly too high above the puck prior to pressing the probe button, the tool will stop prior to reaching it. To prevent this, ensure that your tool is hovering about an inch above the puck prior to measurement. Our position of origin is now set on all three axes, and you are ready to machine your project. Always remember to unplug your tool touch-off puck. Be sure to connect your dust shoe to help with dust collection, and of course, ensure that your safety interlock doors are closed prior to operation. To begin the machining process, simply press the play button on your controller. You will notice your machine's light turn green, which indicates that the spindle has been activated. During the course of a project, you can hit the feed hold or pause button at any time to temporarily pause the feed function. Press the play button once you are ready to resume. We always recommend having your hand near the e-stop button in case a project doesn't operate as you intended, especially during your first few projects. This is the only way to kill power to the machine in an emergency. While a project is running, you have the ability to adjust the spindle on the fly from a range of 0 to 24,000 revolutions per minute. You can also increase or decrease the feed rate based on your project's requirements. If at any point you would like to cancel your project, first hit the pause button, followed by the stop button, which will stop the project permanently. If the safety interlock doors are opened while the project is operating, it will immediately end the project, and it cannot be resumed from that point. There are several other functions on your Academy series, but these steps should help get you started with your CNC machine. We strongly recommend that you download a copy of the Academy Series Owner's Manual, which is available on our website. This provides descriptions of all of the controller's buttons and functionality, which are very important to familiarize yourself with. Beyond this point, this is where our team comes into play. We are always available through our website, email, or our 800 number to ensure that your CNC experience is safe, successful, and enjoyable.